Should be a jam-packed show today. Some of the Rangers are supposed to stop by. New York Rangers.
Aren't they supposed to have their parade today?
Yeah. You know, let me talk. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm excited that, okay, I'll be honest. I'm not even excited that the New York Rangers won because
it really has missed me. The whole euphoria, the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I don't feel it. I'm sorry.
I get excited when I see my kid take the first step. I get excited when my boss says you did a good job. I get excited. Things that affect me personally, I get excited.
You sign a new contract, you get a movie deal, you get a TV show.
That gets me a little charged up.
Sure.
Because there's a personal thing. I don't know. You got to live a pretty empty life to get excited that the Knicks or the Rangers win a game. I don't know. This is my feeling. Now, you take our general manager, Tom Chiusano.
He acts like he was on the team.
You would think that he wore skates. After he left his radio job, he got on the ice and helped the Rangers win the championship.
Right. You think he had personally done something to win the Stanley Cup.
All Tom did was sit and watch it with his son.
Yeah.
That was his contribution.
But he's got a grin on his face.
Oh, here he is.
Tom wants to be on camera.
Yeah, notice everyone has found the reason to come in today.
No.
Oh, come on.
There's a line out there.
I know. Yeah. Ralph got his half hour, now it's the Tom Chiusano half hour.
Everyone finds a reason as soon as you start picking on them.
I'm telling you, I'm thinking of using you in the movies, Tom. You're very photogenic.
Let me tell you something. You know, you forget how good-looking Tom is. You know, it is, as you say, when you're with somebody all the time, you sort of forget.
See,
how good-looking they are.
You are,
oh, thank
Tom,
you, Tom.
You are so handsome.
But the
on
other
TV.
day, yesterday, Tom was walking down the hall. He didn't quite completely get dressed before he made it to work.
Yeah.
And Tom was walking down the hall with the top buttons of his shirt undone.
I have hair in my chest.
And he had the tie was like under the collar, but just hanging down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Can you imagine that coming home to you every night?
I have never said this to another man before.
Nor are you.
But you are gorgeous. You are a vision. You really are. If I had his face, oh my God. My brains in that head, there would be no stop. I would have been a movie star 20 years ago.
You'd be finishing your career now.
Yeah, now I'd be thinking of retiring from movies after a string of successful romance movies.
You've already made love to all the most beautiful women in the world.
No, instead with my face, I have to come up with a comedy to make people laugh. This is great. I got to find something so funny that people will have to suffer through my face.
Yeah, I looked at him just strolling down the hall casually with his shirt unbuttoned. I thought, my goodness, what must it be like to look like that?
Tom, give me your hand for a minute. Anyway, Tom, what did you want to say about the Rangers?
All right, you started saying that I thought I helped, or I felt like I was part of the team. No, I've been a fan for 40 years, and I think it's the best thing sports event I've ever been at. And it was just a great experience.
You know what's great about Tom, as good-looking as he is?
Yes, but
he's still got that same boring way of speaking. There's no personality there. I still think it was the best event I ever was at.
I still think it was the best event I was ever at. I sat there with my son. It was very exciting. It was once in a lifetime.
Yeah, so at least I've got personality.
Do you have a feeling for the great time we had?
Yeah, it must have been great.
How compelling the event was.
But in all seriousness,
special moment
I think... Son. Excuse me, Fred, thank you for the impression.
I thought that was me. That was Fred?
You know, already I don't know what to put on TV Saturday night. Should we put me yelling at Ralph?
You gotta wait until the whole
thing
show
is done. Do we have Tom on, or do we have Ralph on?
Do you go with Beauty or the Beast?
Right. Anyway.
Yes.
God, you look good in these lights. Tom is really handsome.
He's a handsome man.
I hope I'm not embarrassing you.
Oh, no, you're not. Yeah.
Tom, I've never kissed another guy, but for the cameras, I'd be willing to try it. Let me just try it. Maybe I'll like it.
You never know, Howard, unless you go there.
Imagine I leave my wife for Tom.
Wouldn't that be a scandal?
That would be a scandal.
Ooh, headlines for weeks.
You know what I could do? I could just take the garden tool, chop my wife up, and then run off with Tom to Jumbie Bay for a romantic week.
You remember to wash up.
Tom, I'll pay for the villa. Just bring your Speedos, pal.
I got the airfare.
Yeah. You are really handsome. God, if I had a face like you, God has dealt me the cruelest fate of all. I really feel I should look like Tom.
You really feel inside you're a handsome man.
Yeah, I really do. And, women ignored me. I'm sure Tom had no problem picking up women and meeting women because he was handsome. But I'll tell you something. I knew my great personality was not recognized by women because I was ugly. And no matter how great I am inside, they would never recognize me.
Well, I could just imagine you and Tom growing up together.
Yeah.
And
Like Tom would have had a lot of girls.
friend.
And I would have said, I said, look at this guy. He's, no offense by this man. Look at this empty human being. Look at this guy who really just has a corporate mentality, doesn't have a stitch of intelligence. And I am.
And I'm sitting over here alone.
Right.
He's got 50 girls around.
Right, and he's got 50 girls. And Tom, I mean that as a compliment.
And I knew growing up that I had your personality.
Yeah. You're not a man. You're a shell, and that I should be inside of.
Your beautiful, beautiful shell.
Your beautiful shell. I should be there. He is stunning. You are stunning. You are absolutely stunning.
Your shirt.
Tom.
I mean, as good looking as he is now, I can't imagine what he was like as a young man.
Oh, he gets better with age, though, Rob.
Oh, well, he does. You're right about that.
Hey, Tom, would you be my date to the gay games tomorrow? They are in town.
The opening ceremony.
I might have to cancel my writing meeting.
You and I pairs figure skating. How about that?
Hey, I should go to the gay games and photograph myself like with another guy.
Why not?
Yeah,
Another guy.
What?
I mean, another guy?
Oh, he's cheating on you.
Yeah, a different guy than you.
Where are you fickle?
Anyway, the point is, let me get back to the Rangers.
It was the greatest thing in New York City ever.
Yeah. So, okay.
Ever.
Yeah, good, Tom.
Ever.
Until the next thing.
Yeah, right.
No.
Forget about it.
Because after all the years, 53 years of waiting, it's the best thing that'll ever happen in New York sports.
Okay.
I wasn't waiting.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
I was.
53 years. I haven't waited 10 minutes.
Waited 10 minutes.
But okay.
I'm not quite 47, but I feel like I've waited 53 years.
But let me tell you what's going on in New York. So now they've decided, New York City really doesn't have any money.
That's true.
They don't. They keep screaming they don't have money.
We always have budget problems.
One of the big reasons we don't have enough money,
I can relate to that.
we don't have enough police. Why don't we have enough police? Because our inner city, you know what I mean now.
What are you using?
You can't say blacks or Puerto Ricans.
City.
To say blacks and Puerto Ricans would be tacky. All right, I'll say it. Our blacks and Puerto Ricans are having some
You own some blacks and Puerto Ricans?
I do, but don't bring it up. I could get in trouble.
Our blacks.
Some of our blacks and Puerto Ricans are having trouble staying within the confines of law.
And nobody else.
No, there are various white trash that are having problems too. I'm not saying no. I don't want to seem racist.
Oh, no?
No. So the thing is, we need really now police for each individual citizen. In other words, Robin should walk with a cop.
We can't decide whether to give the police to the law-abiding citizens or the criminals.
Right.
Who should the police be with? We can't figure out which group is larger.
We don't know. We don't know at this point what to do. We're really confused. There is so much lawlessness.
Police life mates? Is that what you want?
Tom, I think I'm done with you.
Okay. Yeah, Tom.
All right, Tom, thank you.
I know you think you had Howard's personality, but you don't.
That's Tom attempting to be me. No, Tom, it just doesn't work. Tom, you're just good looking. Stick with that.
I'll see you at the game.
Sit there and look good. All right, there he is, Tom Chiusano. That's a handsome guy.
I can't tell you the effect he had on me the other day as I saw him walking down the hall. It was all I could do to stay in my
And really, I should have that effect on you because I have a great personality and I'm a dynamic guy. But
I hate to say it, I'm as surfacey and shallow as you.
He's as dumb as a white lawn jockey. He really, seriously, you guys don't know him. He's an empty-headed guy. And he's shallow and has no thoughts that are any deeper than surface value. And yet, he would get more women in a bar than I would. All right?
Go figure.
Go figure. Nobody understands this. Anyway, here's my point. And I don't mean that as a knock against Tom. He's a very nice guy.
No, as brilliant as you are, he is handsome.
He is. Exactly, Robin. All right, here's the point. Here's the point.
Okay.
The Rangers now, they're saying they want to give a parade to. And listen, I love a parade. I think it's great for the morale of New York. We have a winning team, this and that. But you got to understand something. It causes such traffic. It causes such a nightmare for people who have to make a living. Now, let me tell you what else is going on in New York as we speak. Today is the first day of the Long Island Railroad strike.
The first day of hell.
The first day of hell. There is a group of people, now I don't know how many people work for the Long Island Railroad, who are having a dispute with their boss. And instead of having this dispute with their boss in private, they are now holding all of Long Island hostage with the trains. In other words, Robin, if you have a dispute with your boss, or 99% of us have a dispute with their boss, they have it.
It's like when you have a fight with Tom.
Right. You have a dispute, and you have to deal with it. Somehow you have to deal with it. There's no hostages. Now, if I was having a fight with my boss, and I grabbed someone off the street and put a gun to their head, I would have to hold hostage. I said, Tom, either give me a raise or I'm going to shoot this person.
Yeah.
All right. What they do on the Long Island Railroad, they take people who basically have miserable lives. Everyone on Long Island is miserable. They have to get up early in the morning. They have to come into Manhattan. They have to sit there on a train like cattle, but they got to get to work. The reason they're motivated to do this, they got to put food in their families' mouths. They've got to work. These Long Island Railroad guys are holding Long Islanders hostage. They are now taking the trains and closing them down. Now, if I was a government official, if I was the governor of New York, which I would like to be, if this
Why isn't there some immediate action?
Let me tell you what the immediate action should be. Remember Ronald Reagan?
Yes.
Ronald Reagan was a great president. I don't give a crap what anyone says. Ronald Reagan said, look, I'm not taking any nonsense. Remember the air traffic control strike?
Oh, yeah.
He fired all the air traffic controllers, and he brought in, I don't know what he brought in, the Guard, the National Guard, or the Army?
No, they had started training new people.
Immediately?
Yes.
What they should do, it's not tough to run a train. I guarantee I could learn how to do it in 5 minutes. I certainly could learn how to punch holes in a ticket.
I have watched that conductor. I know I can do his job.
Yeah, I know you can, too. A person with an IQ of 65, an eggplant, could run those trains.
They're mostly computer anyway, aren't they?
They certainly are. I'll tell you, Tom could run those trains, our general manager, all right? Now, I said it. All right? Now, okay, I know that's an insult. But Tom could run the train.
Now, if you're saying Tom could run the trains, then Gary could run the train.
I didn't say Gary could run the train. I said Tom could run the train.
Okay, there's the distinction.
Gary's an ape. I don't know if an ape can run the train. My point is that if somebody wanted to do something, a governor, you know what? The governor, every official, from the president on down to the most minor official, I don't know what their schedule is. These are people who have lost touch with Americans. They don't.
Can you imagine what would happen if the president was affected by this strike?
Oh, boy.
Or if Governor Cuomo was affected by this strike?
These are people who have become so wealthy and powerful that they forget. Listen, the average senator or the average governor, I don't know what their schedule is. I think if they didn't show up for their jobs for 2 weeks, the government would run itself. If they
He
didn't show
could be off now. We wouldn't know.
You wouldn't even know the difference. So you got to understand that the people who run your life, government officials supposed to be servicing you, should be so outraged about this Long Island strike. They should say, you know what? Fine. All these guys are on strike. We're going to bring in the Army. Well, we got this whole Army we pay for. What are they doing? Bring in a couple of guys and train them and let them run the trains until this thing is worked out. This is a gross injustice. There are people, you should have seen the traffic this morning at 5 a.m. There are people who are going to drive in this morning on top of the Rangers parade. They are going to drive in and look for parking spots in New York. There are no parking spots normally. Now they're going to they have to get to work or they're going to be fired.
Yeah.
They have nowhere to park. These buses that are supposed to be running are a complete state of confusion. There's nowhere to park normally.
The subways are already overcrowded. There are thousands more people today who are going to try to jam themselves on those subways.
These are all people who have committed themselves to living in New York and coming into the city and being productive, and they can't get to work. This is what's going on. Now, why does the average government official not care? He doesn't care because, you know what, it's not so hard for him to get to work. He either goes in a town car.
Or a helicopter.
Or
a plane.
He'll stay home for 2 or 3 weeks, and that'll be the end of it. This is what goes on. This sucks. If I was the governor, I would get on the phone to my president and say, I got a state emergency here.
My whole segment of my population here is being held hostage.
A whole segment of voters. The 11th largest market in the United States is being held captive.
This is the largest commuter railroad.
Right. I don't know whether the employees of the Long Island Railroad deserve a raise or not. I don't know. I don't work there. But I know I shouldn't have to be held hostage. This should be against the law.
You're willing to do whatever they say it takes to run the trains. You just want to ride to work.
Yeah, I just got to get to work.
And they want you to be dependent on these trains.
You ever watch Channel 13?
Oh, yes, every once in a while.
You ever see the show where the African natives, they're primitives. are going wild, and they're cooking missionaries. You ever see this show?
I never saw that.
Well, I seen it, and I got to tell you something. That show is less chaotic than New York City today. I got a microphone outside my window in New York City today, and listen to what I'm hearing. There are people cooking each other on the streets.
That's ridiculous.
That is truth. That is
Nobody
a microphone.
in New York is that rhythmic.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. That is what is going on right now as we speak. Very sad.
But tell the truth, you're mostly concerned because you have to drive in New York, and your life is already miserable, and you don't want it to be more miserable.
Listen, listen. I know I've got it made in the sense that, hey, listen, I got a guy driving me into work. But I'm going to tell you something. It isn't too long ago that I was on the subway trying to get into Manhattan. And even just driving around New York, the way I drive around, you can't get anywhere. This is obscene. I don't know what the governor does during something like this. I don't know where he is.
Has anybody called him?
I'd call him.
Why not?
Give me his number. I'll call the governor.
I think somebody ought to speak to him.
Well, I'm very busy with my movie career, but I would do it.
What is he doing at this time?
This
is a state crisis.
I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, let me take a break. I got a lot to do here today, besides solve the Long Island. Maybe I will call the governor's office.
I wouldn't mind.
Sure, they're not open yet. I'll call him during the 8:30 hour.
Fine, and if you can't get to the governor, get to one of his head people.
Right. Whoever that is.
And let's discuss this.
Yes.
What's being done?
I'm going to do that, Robin.
Because I haven't heard a peep out of him.
But there's something more important than calling the governor.
Uh-oh.
That's commercials. I have to stop for them right now. We'll be back right after these words.